So yesterday in AC chapter, we had learned how to find RMS values. Now we will be dealing with only sinusoidal AC. So for us, RMS current will be equal to peak current divided by √2. RMS voltage will be equal to peak voltage divided by √2. Now let me tell you, in the household that we have, like in our house, you always have this kind of socket, like this socket where there are three, what you call it? Yeah, three terminals. This is used only for earthing. So this is frankly of no use. This is only for earthing purpose. Only for earthing purpose. In fact, that's why you will realize that many of those devices like refrigerator or AC, even though they come with a 3-pin plug, okay, but if suppose somehow you cut this plug, I mean, we don't cut it, we don't cut this pin. Why would I unnecessarily will we waste it? But many so this is your plug and it will be 3-pin. There will be 1 pin over here and then 2 pins will be like this. Okay, so and we insert it over here. But this is only for earthing purpose. Even if you remove it, if you just with the help of something, you just remove it. So now only these 2 pins are there. You just insert it. There will be nothing inserted over there and your device will work. Like suppose there is a fridge. So this is the fridge. And this fridge, this plug you inserted over there and this is definitely connected. The fridge will work. But there is a risk. What risk? Actually, freeze and refrigerate, AC and microwave oven, these are high voltage devices, high power devices. Like for microwave oven, it's like 1,000 watt or maybe even greater than 1,000 watt device. AC is like, I think at least 1,500 watt device. AC means air conditioner. So sometimes static charges accumulate on the walls of the fridge. So this is the fridge. On the walls of the fridge, static charges may accumulate. And if you touch this fridge, which anyway you are going to touch because you will open the fridge, close the fridge, so the doors of the fridge. So these charges may give you a big shock, electric shock. So we don't want accumulation of static charges on our what do you call it, device. Is there any other term? Appliance. Yeah, appliance. Yeah. So it is only for that purpose that this earthing is used. If you have this plug, actually a wire comes out of it and that wire is inserted inside earth. Okay, that wire is grounded to the earth. So if some static charges develop on the body, then this wire will be touching that and it will suck these charges to the ground so that static charges do not get developed. So this is only for earthing purpose and this is really not for the purpose of the normal working of your appliance, electrical appliance. Is that fine? That is why you might have noticed that even though, in fact, you might have noticed one thing, that low power devices come with, okay, just a moment. I unnecessarily deleted it. Yeah, low power devices come with only 2 terminal, but high power devices come with 3 terminal because this for earthing purpose, high power devices have higher risk of giving you electric shock. Okay, now let's come to these two. Out of these two, which one is positive terminal and which one is negative terminal? Actually, one is neutral. One of them is neutral. You might have heard it, that this is neutral wire. This one of them, the potential of this one varies sinusoidally. So potential of this one is like instantaneous voltage is equal to V naught sine omega t and plus some phi may be there. So sometimes this potential is positive and this is always zero. So we say this is positive terminal, but the very next time this potential will become negative because this is varying sinusoidally, and you know sine sometimes is positive, sometimes is negative. This is still neutral. So then this will become positive terminal compared to this, even though in reality its potential is always remaining zero because it is just a neutral wire. Only the potential of this wire is changing. This terminal is changing, but sometimes it is positive, sometimes it is negative. When it is positive, then obviously this is positive terminal compared to this. But when it is negative, this is always zero. But then now you can say that this is positive terminal compared to this. Is that fine? Yeah. So here
Sir,
what we do is, yes.
so the neutral will be with respect to the another live wire, sir.
Yeah, it will be live wire.
Sign on the neutral will be with respect to the live wire, sir.
All wires, you will always notice that they always come in pair because current has to flow through a closed loop only. You see, current has to flow through a closed loop. So one wire is just a normal wire, just a normal wire. And the other one, this is where the AC comes, the alternating current, the AC from the power, from the power plant or from the transformer, the AC comes to your house. So one of the wire is neutral. Neutral means its potential is always zero. Okay. Here, in fact, whatever I said just now in the last 2-3 minutes, you don't have to actually know. You can say that sometimes it is positive, it is negative, and sometimes this is positive, this is negative. Now, reality is that this is neither positive nor negative, it is always zero, but here we always, positive and negative are always in comparative terms. Okay. Now, what is the voltage? What is the voltage between these two ends? The voltage between these two ends, as I just said, it is V inst. Now you don't have to use the word inst. If you can write a small v, why I ask students to write inst is because many students don't know how to write a small v. They write a small v like this and capital V also like this. So they themselves get confused which one is instantaneous voltage and which one is RMS voltage, because RMS voltage is used for capital V. So if you know how to write a small v, like I know, then for you, you don't have to write inst word, because small v automatically means instantaneous. But if you have not yet learned how to write a small v letter, if you write a small v like this, then please go ahead and write inst so that no confusion is there. Okay, so this instantaneous voltage between these two terminals, as you know, it is V naught sine of omega t and plus phi may be there. Now for a normal, you know, ground household voltage, how much is this voltage? This peak voltage is how much? Does anybody know? Yeah, you must have heard it that in our household 220 volt AC comes. But that 220 volt is what? That 220 volt is RMS value. By default, if we don't say RMS voltage is 220 volt, if you simply say voltage is 220 volt, by default, it means RMS only. Similarly, for current also. So suppose there is a current, there is a wire through which 5 ampere of AC current flows. Now, what does that mean actually? Because when it comes to AC current, It's a time dependent quantity. It's a variable quantity. So how can you say 5 ampere of AC current flows? 5 ampere is a constant number. Ideally, you should say something sine omega t current flows. So what do you mean by this 5 ampere? Well, this 5 ampere is a type of average. Now, I'm not saying average. I'm saying a type of average. That type of average is called RMS. RMS, as you know, because yesterday we did a lot of practice for RMS. RMS is also average only. It's just that RMS is not a direct average. We first square the physical quantity. We, like for example, RMS current. So first we square the current and then find average. And then we make an under root. The under root is necessary because otherwise you will not find ampere. You will find ampere square. Because when you squared current, it became ampere square. But you are supposed to find ampere. So finally you have to under root it also. Anyway. So RMS is a type of average. So when we say that there is a wire and suppose 5 ampere of current is flowing through this wire, what does it mean? It actually means that on an average 5 ampere of current is flowing in terms of RMS. So RMS current is 5 ampere because if you look at the instantaneous current, there is a huge problem. The direction of current is not like from right to left. It keeps on varying from left to right, right to left, left to right, right to left, left to right, right to left, left to right, right to left. And in 1 second, it varies 50 times because the frequency is 50 hertz. So when we say 5 ampere of current is flowing, we are only meaning the RMS value. Even though we don't say that the RMS current is 5 ampere, we simply say current is 5 ampere, but by default, when you say current, you say it's RMS value. Same thing goes with the voltage. So in our household, how much is the voltage? We all know 220 volt, but this is not RMS, this is peak. Okay. So in our household,
Sir,
yeah,
is it root to 100?
exactly, root 2, yeah, root 2 220. RMS voltage is 220 volts. So that means peak voltage will be how much? Peak voltage is 220 root 2 volts. This is because V peak is equal to V RMS into root 2, because V RMS is V peak by root 2. So this voltage is 220 root 2. And what about this omega? Well, we all know, I have explained this to you many a times, that omega is 2 pi f and frequency of our household current, household voltage is 50 hertz. So 100 pi radian per second. Okay. Yeah. So this was just a thing I wanted to tell you. Now, and the symbol of these two, as you know, in circuit, when we show the symbol will be like this. This is the symbol of AC source. Okay, now we will study different types of circuits. So today again we will build up lots of theory. Theory means not useless theory. Theory means those kind of theory which will be highly useful to solve problems. So now we will study purely resistive circuit, purely capacitive circuit, purely inductive circuit, then the combination of resistive capacitive and combination of resistive inductive and all those kinds of circuits. So basic AC circuits. As of now, we will study basic as AC circuits. Basic means no combination, only resistive, only inductive, that kind of thing. So first we are studying purely resistive circuit. This is the simplest one, and I have already showed this to you many a times. This is called R circuit because purely resistive circuit. Writing this is a big word. So we, in short, we call it R circuit. So let me take a little time, little effort, and let me draw this. If I once draw it, that diagram I can use all the time. What happened to that? Was there a, yeah. So okay. Okay. Okay, let it be like this. I don't want to make too much of effort. Fine. Here we are going to connect a resistor. Oh my God. Yeah, we are going to connect a resistor because we are studying purely resistive circuit, and here we are going to connect a AC source. And then how come this got deleted? Okay, let me join them. Now, there are two types of diagrams that are normally drawn in AC chapter. One diagram is drawn for instantaneous values, and one diagram is drawn for RMS values. Okay, there are two types of diagrams that we draw in AC chapter. One diagram like this diagram is drawn is an instantaneous diagram. So this is instantaneous diagram. What does it mean? It means that all values shown in this diagram will be instantaneous. That means at a particular instant. While this diagram is RMS diagram. Here, all values shown in this diagram will be RMS values. That means average values only. Please get it in your head that RMS means average. Because I will say this many a times. RMS means average. Please get it to your head. But again, get it to your head that it's not direct average. It's the average after squaring. So RMS means a type of average. Okay. So this is average diagram and this is instantaneous diagram. Basically, here we take a snapshot at a particular time t. So at a particular time t, time t equal to t, we have taken a snapshot, and at that time, suppose the instantaneous voltage right at this moment, suppose this was the positive terminal, this is the negative terminal, and the instantaneous voltage was in sine omega t, you put t equal to t because you have taken, you are doing it for t equal to t, so put t equal to t here, and that's what we did. So this is the voltage and this is the positive terminal at that time. So a current will flow in this direction at that time. So this I'm showing instantaneous current. This voltage was instantaneous voltage. Now in this diagram, what will I show? In this diagram, we will show only RMS values. Now between this point and this point, what is the RMS voltage? That is capital V. So I will show capital V and I will put an arrow like this. I will just show it like this. Should I show this to be positive terminal? No, sir. In this diagram, please don't show any terminal as positive and any terminal as negative because the positives and negatives keeps varying. This is not a photograph taken at a particular time t. This is just an average diagram. That means this diagram will remain valid for all the times. This diagram the diagram on the left side, this diagram is valid only for that particular time. At that particular time, this was the positive terminal, and at that particular time, current was clockwise. At that particular time, voltage was this much and the current was this much. But here we are drawing average diagram. So on an average, is it a positive terminal? No, sir. It keeps varying. So we should not show positive or negative terminal. And whatever voltage you will show, only RMS it should be. Similarly, current. Should I show arrow for the current? Where no way, no way. You can't show arrow because then you are showing the direction, but the direction keeps varying. So what we do is we only put the value, and which value we put? RMS value. So I will write capital I. Capital I means RMS value. And we don't show any arrow in this diagram. Okay. You will see that later. Later means just today itself, or maybe tomorrow. We will only draw RMS diagram. And we will never show arrow for the current. Arrow for the current should be shown only for instantaneous diagram and not for the RMS diagram, because the direction of arrow keeps on changing. Fine. So these are all RMS values. Okay, let me write it. Here, all values shown are RMS values. Here, all values shown are RMS values. Okay, now let me come to this. And of course, this resistance was given to be R. Let me apply KVL. If you apply KVL, well, this is very simple. We have done it many a times. Okay. If you apply KVL, then from here to here, it is IR, V drop. And then from here to here, since this is the negative terminal, so minus V instantaneous is equal to 0. So from here, we get instantaneous current as instantaneous voltage divided by resistance. And instantaneous voltage, as you know, it is V0 sin omega t. Well, this must be very boring for you because I have shown the same thing 2-3 times or already. But don't worry, soon we will make it interesting. Okay, so V0 by R sin omega t, that's the current. This V0 by R, we can write as capital I0, which is peak current, sin omega t. Now, notice one thing, that if source voltage is V, source voltage means AC source voltage, is V equal to V0 sin omega t, then current is I equal to I0 sin omega t. Here, what is the thing to be noticed? I said notice this. What is the thing to be noticed? The thing to be noticed is that this thing, by the way, what is this called? What is this called? This is called phase. Yesterday I have told you that entire angle within the sine function is called phase. So what was the phase of the voltage? It was omega t. And what is the phase of the current? It is also same omega t. So there was nothing like plus 90 degree or minus 90 degree. There was nothing like that. So this is what we have to notice. We have to notice that in case of resistive circuit, by the way, this is valid only for resistive circuit. Very soon we will study capacitive circuit and you will realize that actually things are different. In resistive circuit, the phase of voltage and the phase of current are same. Okay, so this is the statement I want to write. Okay, in case of resistor, the voltage across resistor the voltage across resistor and current through it are in same phase. Now, this is actually a very important statement, even though at this moment you may not understand how much important it is, but it is a very important conclusion we have come to. Okay, this is a very important conclusion. In case of resistor, the voltage across resistor and current through resistor are in same phase. Okay, they are in same phase, because this is the phase for the voltage, this is the phase for the current, and there you can see there is no difference whatsoever. Okay. Second thing is you can notice is that peak current in terms of peak values, okay, in terms of peak values, and here in terms of RMS values. Okay, in terms of peak values, can we say that the peak current is equal to peak voltage divided by the resistance? I mean, this current, this is what? This is nothing but V naught by R only. Na? We started writing this as peak, I naught. So it is, and in terms of RMS, you know, RMS means average. Can we say that capital I, that means RMS current, is capital V, that means RMS voltage divided by resistor? Really, is it possible to say this? This we understand. We understand that this is true because this is, we are writing this as this only. But in terms of RMS also, is it true? Can we? Well, we certainly can. You know why? Because peak and RMS have a fixed relation. That relation is peak is equal to, sorry, RMS is equal to peak by √2 for sinusoidal values, for sinusoidal current and voltages. So RMS and peak has a fixed relation. Whenever you divide peak by √2, you will get RMS. Clear? Now here, this statement is definitely valid, but that is in, sorry, but this is in terms of peak value. Now let's divide both of them by √2. What do you get? RMS voltage. What do you get? RMS current. Is that right or not? So if this is true, this will also be true. Whatever relation is true between peak values, the same relation will be true between RMS values. Reason being that RMS value and peak value, they have a fixed relation between them. That is the multiplying factor of √2. Okay. Fine. Now let's look at purely capacitive circuit. Okay, this was no, there is one more thing I need to tell you. Okay, I'll tell you about that. I'll tell you that just in a moment. In terms of phasor, okay, if I draw phasor, now this concept of phasor is a very new thing for you. This concept I will explain one day. The concept here is that if there is a sinusoidally varying quantity, like if suppose there is a quantity called X, which is equal to something capital X naught sine of something, maybe omega t, or maybe something, maybe plus phi, whatever. Okay, so I'm not giving any meaning to X. I'm saying X is just a quantity, just a number in terms of, if you think in mathematical way, it's just a number. X naught is the maximum value of this number, which you can also call peak value of this number. Omega is angular frequency and all that. Now the point here is that whenever you get a sinusoidal relation, you can represent this number with an arrow, just like a vector. So we can draw an arrow. We can draw an arrow, and then we can say that this arrow represents this quantity. This is a very, a new concept for you. This concept of phasor is very new for you, but you have to understand it because we will use this concept of phasor extensively in this chapter. So when can we draw phasor? Anytime we have a sinusoidally varying quantity, we can represent that quantity with the help of a phasor. Phasor is just another fancy name of vector. Now here, this x is not a vector. It is just a number. How can we represent this number by an arrow? It is not making sense. Well, there is a lot of mathematics behind it. And in fact, that mathematics is not very difficult to explain, but I don't want to get into that because that will simply kill time, nothing else. So just accept what I'm saying. What I'm saying is whenever you have a sinusoidally varying number, now it has to be sinusoidally varying number, then that number can be represented with the help of an arrow. Now, if this number was something else, like x is equal to x naught e to the power minus omega t or whatever. Now, here you can't draw phasor. There is no concept of phasor here. The concept of phasor works only for sinusoidally varying quantity. So if there has to be a sign. If you change this to cosine, can you draw? Yeah, you can, because cos is actually another form of sine. If there is cos, we will convert it into sine by making, by saying plus pi by 2 or minus pi by 2, whatever. Okay. However, if there was a tan omega, can we draw a phasor for that? No, sir. Tan can't be converted into sine. The concept of phasor is only for sinusoidally varying quantity. Okay. So whenever there is a number which is sinusoidally varying, we can, we can represent it with the help of a arrow. Okay. So suppose this is the arrow. And we are, okay, this is the arrow. Let me just draw this one. This was 2 3. Now what this arrow represents this quantity. Now what should be the length of this arrow? Because whenever we draw an arrow, its length is also important and direction is definitely important. But what about the length of it? Well, the length of this arrow has to be the peak value. Whatever is the maximum value of this quantity, that will be equal to the length of the arrow. Okay. Okay. So you understood it? Hopefully. Now let me come back to the current. Here, what was the applied voltage, source voltage? It was V naught sine omega t. And what was the current? It was I naught sine omega t. Now look at voltage. Is it a sinusoidally varying quantity? Yes. And what did I say just now? Any sinusoidally varying quantity can be represented with the help of an arrow. So I can create an arrow to represent this voltage. Okay. So this arrow represents this voltage. Now you may again keep on asking the same thing, sir. How is it possible that a voltage can be represented with an arrow? Voltage is a scalar quantity. We all know it. How are you representing it with the help of a vector? Well, you can keep asking this to me as many times as you want. My answer will be same. It will be that we all know voltage is a scalar quantity. But since it is sinusoidally varying quantity, look at this sinusoidal function. So we can represent it with the help of an arrow. Same answer I will give. You can ask this to me 1,000 times. I'll give same answer. Okay. Now what will be the length of this? The length of this, as I just now few minutes back said, it will be V, the peak value, and peak value is V naught. So V naught. Now here we write the length at the end of it. We don't have to write the length somewhere. We write the length at the end of it. Okay, so V naught. Okay, and what about the current? Well, let me write this current here itself. What about the current?
Sir,
Current also, yeah. Yes.
so the length of the phasor will not be equal to V naught sine omega t, sir.
No. V naught sine omega t is the instantaneous value. Whatever is the amplitude, peak value, that will be equal to the length of the arrow. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So what about the current? Current arrow can be drawn. Just a sec. Yeah. Okay, let me use this color. No problem. I have two different colors. So current arrow can be drawn like this. What should be the magnitude of this? Equal to I naught. So I can write this as I naught. Now, why are we drawing both these arrows in the same direction? Why are we drawing both the arrows in the same direction? Because look at the phase angle. Here the phase angle was omega t, and here also the phase angle is omega t. Since they are in the same phase, and we wrote also in case of resistor, the voltage across resistor and current through it are in the same phase. Since they are, the angle is, there is no angle difference here. So that is why the voltage phasor and current phasor will be in the same direction. Okay. Everything clear till now? I took a lot of time. I'm taking extreme amount of time. Okay. So the voltage phasor and current phasor are in same direction because they don't have any phase difference. They don't have any phase difference. Okay. Now, one more thing I would like to tell you now. Suppose, I mean, this diagram is there. Let me copy this diagram to this side. And now let me say that I'm going to squeeze this diagram by a factor of √2. Okay, this was the diagram, this much. This was the actual diagram, this much. You see same length. I'm going to squeeze this diagram by a factor of √2. So squeeze this diagram by a factor of √2. Then, yeah. Then what about this voltage? Will it become VRMS? Yeah. Will it become VRMS? Yeah. What about this current? Will it become IRMS? Yes. So what is the benefit of this? I don't know what is happening. Yeah, the benefit is that now it has become RMS values. So can we draw phasor in terms of RMS values also? Normally phasor, no, I'll repeat this 2-3 times, so please be attentive. Normally when we draw phasor diagram, the length of the phasor should be equal to peak value. I have already said it many times. So the length, since this voltage peak value is V naught, so this length should be V naught. Okay. Since the current peak value is I naught, so this length should be I naught. However, we can also draw a phasor diagram where length of the phasor is equal to RMS values. It will really not make too much of a difference because all we are doing is we are drawing this diagram and then squeezing it by a factor of √2. So all lengths will get shortened by a factor of √2. And when peak value is divided by root 2, we get RMS values. The relation will remain same. So in AC chapter, since RMS value is more important than peak value, in AC chapter, mostly we draw phasor diagrams where length of the phasor is equal to, where length of the phasor is equal to RMS values. Okay, fine. Now let's continue to the capacitive circuit. This was, till now we were studying purely resistive circuit. Now we will be studying purely capacitive circuit. Purely capacitive circuit. So in short, C circuit. Okay. Now again, two types of diagrams we will draw. One diagram will be instantaneous. Now here, of course, we need to make some changes. What change we need to make? We need to, yeah, that resistor has to be replaced by a capacitor. So we will replace that resistor by a capacitor. So this is the capacitor, this is the voltage, and this is a snapshot taken at a particular time t. This is a photograph snapshot taken at a particular time t. At this time, suppose this was the positive terminal and this was the negative terminal. At this time, suppose this was the voltage whose value is this. Here in place of t, put t, because you have taken this snapshot at t equal to t. Okay, now let the current, okay, let the charge on the capacitor be Q. You know, capacitor holds charge. So at this moment, the charge on the capacitor is Q, then obviously this will be minus Q. Is this Q going to remain constant? Well, no, sir, because this voltage is going to change. As this voltage changes, this Q has to change, because Q is equal to C delta V. Since this voltage is not constant, it's not a constant voltage. It's not a battery. Since this voltage is not constant, this charge cannot remain constant, because as delta V changes, Q has to change. So if Q changes, that means charge is flowing. How can this Q change? It can change only if charge flows in like this, or maybe flows out like this. If charge flows in like this, then this Q will increase. If charge flows out like this, then Q will decrease. So that is why a current will be there. So the current will be there. And what is the relation between this current and this charge? It is I equal to dq dt. Okay, fine. So there will be current. Now let me draw, oh my God. Now let me draw the same diagram, because as I said, two types of diagrams are drawn. This will be RMS diagram. RMS diagram. Is RMS diagram also a snapshot, a photo? No, not at all. Not at all. So here there are many things I have to delete. For example, I have to delete this part. Why? Because the voltage at that moment we can't show. We have to delete the positive and negative terminals, because positive and negative terminals keep changing. We have to delete these arrows, because the direction of the arrows keep changing. Okay, then we have to delete this charge. Okay, and this current also, let me delete. I will write the current once more. So here we will show the voltage just like last time we had shown. Yeah, last time we had shown this voltage as like this, RMS values. And what about the current? Current, we can't show direction. We will show only RMS values like this. Okay. Charge will not show because the charge actually on an average, the charge will be 0. Because capacitor will get charged, discharged, and so on. Anyway, here the calculation will be done in this. So at a general
Sir?
time t, yeah.
Sir, so
Yes.
on the capacitor, charge will be on an average 0, sir.
On an
We
average
cannot
0.
say no, sir.
We cannot say, why not? Even average current is 0.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Even average voltage is 0. Okay. So why
Okay,
I'm
sir.
not showing charge? Because here charge is not important. You can show charge as a capital Q, and that capital Q is the average one. However, it's not important, so I'm not showing. Okay, at a general time t, let charge on the capacitor be small q. Let charge on the capacitor be small q, and current be small I. Now we will apply a KVL. When you apply KVL from here to here, what do you get? Q by C. Then from here to here, what do you get? Minus V inst equal to 0. So you get Q is equal to C into V inst. Okay. So you get Q is equal to C into V naught sine omega t, because V instantaneous is V naught sine omega t. Now we are not interested in the charge. Frankly, we are interested in the current. So we will differentiate it with respect to time t. So I will write it here now. Differentiate it with respect to time t. So we'll get dq dt is equal to C V naught omega cos omega t. Is that correct? C V naught is a constant. Sine differentiation is cos, and this omega will get multiplied with. Correct. Now this is nothing but current, instantaneous current, and this is C V naught by C V naught into omega. Correct. But listen, here we will do a manipulation. Please just focus on this manipulation. This omega c is there in the numerator. I want to bring it in the denominator. Can I write it like this? Can I write it like this? Of course. Now, why am I writing it like this? You will understand just in a moment. Don't worry. And this will be cos omega t. Okay. So this current will be V naught by, now this quantity 1 by omega c, it is called capacitive reactance, capital X and C. Capital X for reactance and C for capacitive reactance. And this is cos omega t. I will write it as sine. I will convert cos into sine. Now, most of the time when I ask the student to convert cos into sine, this is, sir, 90 degrees minus omega t, because you have studied it in class 9th itself. You had studied it in class 9th itself that sine of 90 degrees minus theta is cos theta. Cos of 90 degrees minus theta is sine theta. This you had studied in class 9th. Then you studied in class 11th that sine of theta minus 90 is something else. It is not cos theta, it is minus cos theta. And then cos of, or rather, okay, and sine plus theta will be how much? That will be cos theta. So these things you studied later in class 12th, sorry, 11th. But these things you had studied, these two formulas were there even for class 9th or maybe 10th, I don't know. But Yeah, it was there before class 11. So students feel much more comfortable with these formula. I know. But here my purpose is not this. I don't want to put a negative sign in front of omega. See, I can write it like this. Nobody can say this is wrong. This is absolutely correct. But it will not serve our purpose. We don't want a minus sign in front of it. Here, the problem is that in front of omega t, we have got a minus sign, which we don't want. Okay. So I want to convert it into sine, cos into sine, and omega t, I want to let it remain like this. Now there are two possibilities. Either I write plus 90 degrees or I write minus 90 degrees. Which one will give us the correct answer? Well, you can expand it if nothing else, at least you can expand it. So sine omega t plus 90, if you choose plus 90, it will give you cos. Now, if you expand it, you will realize sine A plus B, sine A cos B plus cos A sine B. So it will give you this. If you by mistake choose minus sine, then sine omega t minus 90 will not give you cos, it will give you minus cos. Any problem? Okay, now instead of 90 degree, it's better if I call it pi by 2. So this is your current. So we have done all the hard work and we have come to this conclusion.
Sir,
Yeah,
sir, just a second. Can you show the diagram, sir? I have a doubt, sir.
yeah.
Sir, diagram, sir. That
This is the diagram.
yes, sir. Now visible, sir. Sir, we move across here, no, sir. So we calculate using KBL. This is a result, sir.
Yeah.
When we apply KBL, sir, we move
Hmm.
across in the
Yeah, from here to here as we move Q by C. Then from here to
okay,
here,
sir.
we are moving from negative to positive. So there is a V gain, but we want V drop, so minus.
Oh, yes, sir. That one doubt, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Now see, what was the applied voltage? Can you see what was the source voltage? It was V naught sine omega t. How much is the current? It is V naught by XC sine omega t plus pi by 2. What does it mean? It means okay, if source voltage is V equal to V naught sine omega t, then current comes out to be I is equal to I naught sine omega t plus pi by 2. You can see here this I naught is basically V naught by XC. Okay, where XC, what is it called? It is called capacitive reactance. Capacitive reactance. And how much was its value? I will show you what we replaced. See, we replaced 1 by omega C by XC. So capacitive reactance is 1 by omega into C. Okay, this is the conclusion. Now what does it mean? Let me go back to resistive circuit and see what was the conclusion for resistive circuit. If source voltage was V naught sine omega t, current was I naught sine omega t only. So there was no phase difference. Okay, but for capacitive circuit, you see there is a phase difference. So what can we say? We can say as a conclusion that in case of capacitor, okay, current through the capacitor leads voltage across it by pi by 2. Now, what do you mean by leads? See, for voltage, what was the phase angle? It was omega t. For current, what is the phase angle? Omega t plus pi by 2. So it is greater than omega t by pi by 2. How much? By how much? By pi by 2. So we can say that current leads the voltage. So there are two terms. One is leads and one is lags behind. Okay. If there was a minus, suppose there was minus pi by 2, suppose, then we would say that current lags behind the voltage by pi by 2 because its phase angle is smaller than, but that's not the case here. Our mathematics says that there is a plus sign here. So it means current through the capacitor leads voltage across it by pi by 2. Am I correct? Okay. Or the same statement, I can write it like this, or we can say that voltage across capacitor lags behind current through it by pi by 2. Seriously, I mean, look at this. Are these two same statement or they are different? This one and this one? Are they same statement or they are different statements?
Same.
Here I'm saying current leads voltage. Here I'm saying voltage lags behind current. They are same. They are same statement. Now, out of these two, you have to memorize one. Which one would you prefer? You may say, sir, we will prefer this statement. It looks more logical to you. Well, yeah, of course you can. But reality is that if you remember this statement, it will serve you better. I mean, both are same. I'm not saying that they are different. Both are same. Okay. But this statement we should memorize now because we will make use of it while solving more complex circuits. Okay. So now let me draw the phasor diagram. Okay. So if I draw voltage phasor with the help of this arrow, this is voltage phasor. Which way we should draw current phasor? Should we draw current phasor in the same direction?
Perpendicular to it.
Yeah, perpendicular to it. Because see, the phase angle of voltage and the phase angle of current. Which one is greater? Current phase angle is greater. So current should be drawn ahead of voltage like this. So this current and this voltage, current is ahead of voltage. Is that fine? Tell me.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is voltage phasor. What should be its length equal to? Peak value. But in AC chapter, so okay, let me say this is the voltage peak value. This is peak value. Fine. Now what we do is, if we squeeze this by a factor of √2, then now this becomes this by √2. It means it becomes what? RMS, and this also becomes by I0 by √2 RMS. Both can be drawn, but in this chapter, now let me go back to the previous size. Yeah, in this chapter, RMS values are more important, na? So we draw RMS values. So the length of this phasor is equal to RMS values, RMS voltage. The length of this phasor is equal to peak one. Okay. Now, normally this is fine. This is fine. But normally when we draw the phasor diagram, we always take current phasor as our reference phasor. That means we draw current phasor horizontally. Now you may say, sir, why not voltage phasor horizontal? Both are correct. But when I'm saying it with some experience. If you draw current phasor as horizontal, here I'm drawing voltage as horizontal, but if you draw current as horizontal, it will be more helpful to you later on. So what I do is I'm going to rotate this by 90 degree. See, everything same. Oh my God, come on. Yeah, everything same. The phase diagram is same only. By the way, let me make it a little bigger because it has become too big, too small, and this one. So this is your. Now this is the current phasor. Why I'm not putting naught? You can put naught, but that will be peak value, which is also correct. But normally we prefer RMS values. This is V. Is there a relation between this length and this length? Come on, is there a relation between this length and this length? Of course, there is a relation. What was the relation here? What was the relation? Let me write here. See, peak current was equal to peak voltage by XC. Was it there or not? So from here, can we say that RMS current is equal to RMS voltage by the same XC? Of course, you divide this by √2 on both sides and you get this. So what is the relation between this length and this length? The relation is that this length is shorter than this length by a factor of XC. Or you can say that this length is greater than this length by a factor of XC. So I into XC will give you this magnitude. Any problem? You will notice here that voltage across capacitor lags behind current through it by pi by 2. So this was current, this is voltage. Voltage is lagging behind. Okay, enough. Now let's look at the other circuit, which is inductive circuit. Let me at least finish that part today. We have some time left. So now we are looking at the third type of circuit. Here I've just copied it. Don't worry, I'll make changes here. This is purely inductive circuit. Which can be written as L circuit. Okay. So this diagram is instantaneous diagram. Instantaneous diagram. Here, of course, we need to make changes because in place of capacitor, okay, no problem. In place of capacitor, we have to show inductor. So here, I'm going to show inductor. This is how we show inductor, like this. Okay, I will show it a little bigger. Inductors are normally drawn a little bigger. So this is the inductor and this is the battery. And at a general time t, suppose I current is flowing, just like I have shown. Now how to deal with, and this is valid only for a particular time t. How to deal with an inductor? How do we deal with an inductor? Well, the moment we see an inductor, we replace it by a battery. The direction of the battery should be taken in the same direction as current. And the value of this battery is minus L di dt. Okay, so this is one type of diagram. Now another type of diagram is the RMS diagram. So this diagram is RMS diagram. So for RMS diagram, I have to delete many things. I can't show positive, I can't show negative, I can't show capital letter, sorry, small letter current, I can't show direction. So this is RMS diagram. In this diagram, whatever value we will show only RMS values. So the voltage across these 2 points on an average, that means RMS, is capital V. The current, capital I. No direction, don't show direction. Okay. Now we'll apply KVL at time t. That means at this time. So when you travel from here to here, you get minus of minus L di dt. I hope it's correct. I hope you are under, it is correct, I know, but I hope you understood why. See, from negative to positive, so there is a potential gain. So that is why minus. And then this EMF is minus. Okay. And then from here to here, because we are traveling from negative to positive, so minus V equal to 0. Correct? So from here we get L di dt. And this V I'll get to on that side, that is V naught sine omega t. Now we want to find current. We are always interested in current. So this L will be here, and then sine omega t, and this dt also I brought to that side. Now we will put integration sign. So the integration of di will be I, and V naught by L. Integration of sine is minus cos, and since it is omega t, so the coefficient of t is omega, so it will get divided by this, and plus an arbitrary constant c, because this is indefinite integral. I'm not putting any limits, so there will be this constant c. But however, actually this integration constant comes out to be 0. How it comes out to be 0, I will not show it. I don't have that much of time to show it. Okay, this integration constant c actually comes out to be 0. Okay. So how much you are getting current as? You are getting current as V naught by omega L, and then minus cos omega t. But we want to convert it into sine. So V naught by omega L, this time omega L is already in the denominator, and we are going to write it as capital XL. It will be called inductive reactance. And we want to convert it into sine. So this time we can write omega t minus pi by 2, because if you expand it, sine A minus B sine A cos B minus cos A sine B, you will see that it is exactly the same. Okay, so this is your instantaneous current. Obviously, this part, we will call it as peak current. Okay, here I naught is equal to V naught by XL. Clear? So what are the conclusions we can make now? We can make few conclusions. Like for capacitive circuit, we had made few conclusions. Okay, like this. So similarly for inductive circuit, we can make few conclusions. So note. First thing to note is that if source voltage is V equal to V naught sine omega t, then current comes out to be I equal to I naught sine omega t plus pi by 2, where I naught is V naught by XL. XL is called reactance, but this time inductive reactance. Last time also XC was there, and it was also called reactance, but it was called capacitive reactance. Okay, what is the value of XL? We replaced
sin omega t minus pi by 2.
What? Sin omega t minus pi by 2? Oh, sorry. Thank you for correcting me. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for correcting me. It's obvious that this is minus. You see, minus. Acha, XL we replaced omega L by XL, na? So inductive reactance is omega L. Well, don't worry. We will anytime we will use it. I will do this quick revision all the time. So don't worry. If you are not able to understand it for the first, you are able to understand it, but you may thinking, sir, how will I remember all this? I'll use this. See, so we got peak current is equal to peak voltage by XL. Does it mean that the RMS current will be equal to RMS voltage by the same XL? Does it mean or not? Well, yes, because whatever is the relation between peak values, same will be the relation between RMS values. All you have to do is divide both sides by √2. So I naught by √2, you will get I, and V naught by √2, you will get V. Okay. Now, one thing we have to write is that in case of inductor, voltage across inductor leads current through it by pi by 2. How come? Let's see. Let's see. This was the voltage. How much was the phase for the voltage? Omega t. How much is the phase for the current? Omega t minus pi by 2. So voltage phase is greater than current phase, or you can say current phase is smaller than voltage phase. Both will give you the same thing, but normally we remember like this. Okay, and this is very important. We are going to use this extensively. Now let's draw phasor diagram within a second. Within not a second, within a minute. Okay, phasor diagram. We will draw the current phasor first. So here is the current phasor. And now in which direction should we draw the voltage phasor? See, voltage across it leads the current through it by pi by 2. So should this be voltage phasor or not? Yes. Okay. So this is your current phasor. And what will be the length of this? RMS value. You can use peak value also, but normally we use RMS value. And what will be the length of this phasor? It will be RMS voltage. Well, is there any relation between this length and this length? Absolutely, sir. This relation. Absolutely. So this V is I into XL. You see, V is I into XL. Okay. So these are the basic circuits. Now with the knowledge of these basic circuits, we can tackle the complicated circuit, which are actually not very complicated, but that we will do tomorrow. Okay, bye-bye.